I'm an anime freak who spends 24 hours a day digging into Demon Slayer. But recently, while browsing a Japanese forum, I came across a heartbreaking discovery about the patterns on Akaza's clothing. Today, I'll explain the hidden, devastating details behind one of the most tragic villains in the entire series, Akaza. Let's begin. First of all, did you know that Akaza's entire character design is built from fragments of his human memories? The pink in his hair and vest, and the deep navy of his body markings, all of them come from the color scheme of his fiancée Koyuki's kimono. His domain pattern mirrors Koyuki's hairpin, and his fighting stance is based on Soryu, the martial art he learned from his master Keizo. Even Akaza's habit of asking demon slayers for their names reflects a trace of his human life, because Keizo used to repeatedly ask Hakuji for his name as well. And what do you think is Hakuji's most unforgettable memory from his human life? That's right, the night of the fireworks, when he and Koyuki promised eternal love to each other. Akaza's fighting techniques burst with impact and beauty, just like fireworks. And many of his attack names in Japanese actually come from traditional hanabi, the specific names of Japanese firework patterns. For example, in chapter 148, Akaza uses a devastating kick technique against Tanjiro called leg type, crown splitter, or in Japanese, Kyaku Shiki Kanmuri Sakiwari. This name originates from a type of firework called Kanmuri Boten, crown chrysanthemum, known for its comet-like trajectory and powerful explosion at the tip, perfectly matching Akaza's move both in form and visual effect. In other words, every time Akaza fights, he unconsciously recreates that perfect night. The night he was still human, standing beside Koyuki, looking up at the glowing sky filled with fireworks. But not everything that appears on his body symbolizes happiness. The blue tattoos that cover his skin are actually reminiscent of the ink markings once forced upon criminals during Japan's Taisho era, symbols of guilt and punishment. The fact that these marks remain even after becoming a demon reflects Akaza's deep self-loathing for the strength that was supposed to protect the ones he loved, but instead only brought anger, theft, and death. And in the end, he failed to protect the one person who mattered most, leaving only regret behind. Now let's talk about the pattern on the back of his clothing. At first glance, it might seem like just another tattoo-like design, but it's not. It's actually a reference to an ancient Japanese matching game called Genjiko. In this game, players identify which incense patterns are the same, and each design has its own poetic name. The pattern on Akaza's back is known as Kohu no Yuki, which translates to snow on a lone peak. This beautiful motif has been used for centuries in traditional Japanese art and kimono design. Kohu no Yuki. Do you see the irony? Koyuki, the woman whose name literally means little snow, was such a precious memory to Akaza that he carried her symbol on his back even as a demon. Yet tragically, because it was behind him, he could never see it. He could never remember her. Akaza, the brutal fighter who defeated Rengoku and lived for battle, was, in truth, the most tragic villain in Demon Slayer. If there is any solace for him, it's the thought that Koyuki, Keizo, and his father were waiting for Hakuji, even in the depths of hell. What do you think? If you know any other details about Akaza, share them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.